Quantifiers. In this video, we will talk about chapters 6 and 8, and the quantifiers that are listed in this video can be found on pages 95, 134, 135, and 136 of your textbook. In the last video, I told you that we use quantifier words in front of non-count nouns. Quantifiers can also come before plural count nouns, and that will be discussed in another video. Quantifiers tell us how much or how many. Quantifiers don't tell us the exact amount of something. Exact amounts are described with using numbers. Quantifiers only give us a general idea of the amount of something. On this slide, you will see a list of quantifiers that can be used with non-count nouns. You will notice that some quantifiers are just one word, like little and some. But you will also see that some quantifiers are actually phrases, like a great deal of, or a large amount of, or a majority of, or a piece of. In this slide, I have given you sentences that show a non-count noun, which is underlined, and a quantifier, which is in red. Let's look at the first sentence. The first sentence is, I spend a little time on the computer every day. Time is your non-count noun, and the quantifier I've chosen to use is a little. Now, you can choose which quantifier you want to use before non-count nouns. There are some rules about which quantifiers should be used with which non-count nouns, and we will talk about that later in this video. Let's look at sentence number 3. The non-count noun is money. The quantifier is a large amount of. So I can say, I saved a large amount of money during the summer. Let's look at the next slide. Let's talk about the quantifiers little and a little. The quantifier little, just by itself, has a negative meaning. That negative meaning means that it's used when you want to say that there's almost zero of that non-count noun. A little is a quantifier phrase. It has more of a positive meaning, and it means not very much, but some. Let's look at some examples below. The first sentence says, some fish need little oxygen to survive. The non-count noun is oxygen, and the quantifier is little. This means that fish really don't need much air at all, almost none. The next sentence uses the quantifier a little. We saved a little money. This means we saved a small amount of money. This has more of a positive meaning. Again, the quantifier little, just by itself, has more of a negative meaning, and the quantifier phrase a little has a positive meaning, means not very much, but some. Finally, let's talk about the quantifier much. Much is not used with non-count nouns like information in a sentence. However, we can use much with a question. Think of the question, how much? Now let's look at a sentence that it's wrong. That's much information to memorize. This is wrong. We don't use the quantifier much in front of the non-count noun information. Also, let's look at a sentence where we can use a different quantifier with the non-count noun information. That's a lot of information to memorize. I've chosen a different quantifier to put in front of the non-count noun information. Now, I can also use much in a question. If you look at my question that I've made, it asks how much information was on the test. Once again, we can use much with a question, but we cannot use much with non-count nouns like information. There are other non-count nouns that we cannot use much with, like gymnastics and politics. That is the end of this video.